And we're back. Welcome to another episode of the Mediocrity Podcast. As always, I'm your host, Mike Forrest. Today's guest is a three-time all-conference player at San Diego State, where he was also Mountain West Conference Player of the Year in, I believe, 2012. He was a PGA Tour Canada's Merit Order of Winner. He's won on the Gateway Tour, the PGA Tour of Canada, the Nationwide, or I guess back then it was the Web.com, now the Corn Ferry, and his big breakthrough in 2022, he won the Valero Texas Open. He's been ranked as high as 61st in the world. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome JJ Spaun. JJ, thanks for doing this.
What's up, Biggs? Thanks for having me on, big guy.
Did I miss it? I always ask, did I miss anything?
No, you hit all of them. I kind of forgot a few of those accolades, so it's good to be reminded of them.
Yeah, and we'll talk about them when we go through the show. But pretty impressive. You pretty much won everywhere you've been. So.
Yeah. Winning at every level is very promising, and especially when you get to the tour and you haven't done it there yet, you're just got to find that belief that eventually you will, because you've done it at every level. So I kind of checked off most of those boxes.
Sweet. Well, before we get into your career, you're a big baseball guy, Los Angeles Dodgers. Were you able to watch Ohtani? Let's talk about Ohtani, the 50-50 club. The guy's an alien.
Seriously.
Did you see his 6 for 6? The game he broke the 50-50 mark, 6 for 6, 3 bombs, 2 doubles, a single, 4-run score, 12 RBI or 10 RBIs.
It's unbelievable.
Greatest regular season game, I'd argue, in the history of baseball.
Yeah, I mean, the guy is just, probably the modern day Babe Ruth, maybe even better. But it's just, the guy is such an incredible talent. And, I was tracking it on my phone. I couldn't believe that he accomplished that. But I could believe it because he had the potential. But just to do it in his first season with the Dodgers, kind of having that pressure of being on the team and having all that sort of expectation on him, and to just have the season he's had this year.
And knowing you're not pitching too, which is one of the best pitchers in baseball, so all the pressure's on you to hit. It's been totally unbelievable watching that guy, man.
Yeah, guy's a stud.
Let's also there was some news last week, golf related, where the PGA Tour and the PIF got together in New York for, I don't know if they were secret meetings or whatever. I mean, it was reported. What's your take? Because obviously you've had Matt Jones on, who's live golf guy, so we kind of got his perspective. What's your whole perspective on the live PGA Tour thing? Do you think it's been a plus, a positive essentially for the game? I know some people saying it splintered the game and taken viewerships off, but do you think as a whole, especially as a player, has it been a positive in your eyes, the stuff that's happened? And what's your take on maybe the future of?
Yeah, I definitely think there's like a lot of pros and cons with it. I think as a player perspective, as a business sort of, we're a business at the end of the day. Every single player, it's benefited kind of every one of us, whether you're on Live or PGA Tour, massively. Purses have gone up. It's good to kind of create competition with the PGA Tour, because for a while, like, there was none.
Right.
And, we're kind of, I would say, being exploited or kind of taken advantage of. And, there's all these promises, but when Liv stepped in and created the league and had guys leave, then that really shook things up. I think it's been great for the players' side. The only con I would say would just be sort of, for the fan perspective, it's kind of divided people.
Sure.
And, it's okay to have your preference on who you want to watch and which tour you want to watch.
Right.
But I think at the end of the day, the best product is having everyone playing together and having all the best players together. And obviously, there's a lot of great players on both tours. Yeah. And you're kind of dividing that up. But I think that's what the whole goal of these meetings is to find a way to get all the live guys back on tour and even kind of, crossover.
I think,
maybe I can go play a couple live events. So hopefully that'll be the future of golf. And
I have authority to tell you, if you're interested. I got a call today, and you have been offered a contract to join the Ironheads.
Hey, that would be a tough decision to make.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know, it seems like a really good time over there, and obviously you can make a lot of money on that tour. And at the end of the day, that's kind of what we're trying to do.
Obviously, I'm kidding.
Oh, God.
Sorry, I don't want
thought
to
you were
break it.
serious.
Sorry, I'm just joking. But you probably know Kevin. You can probably make a phone call. What's your take on the players, on your guys, the PGA players? I was reading some of the ridiculous stuff where they're saying that they want how true is it, or are these guys idiots? Like they want the live guys to give back their large contract signing bonuses to rejoin the PGA Tour. In no world would that ever happen, but like, why would some players even want that? You guys have made, like, are you going to return the money you've made off of signature events? Like, what's your take on that?
Yeah, I don't know where that came from or who said that or if it was taken out of context, but I don't believe in that. I mean, we all got this equity sort of program, and that's essentially kind of balancing out what the guys that could have gone to live missed out on. So if anything, the playing field's level, I think, in my eyes. So I think it's pretty petty to kind of, ask for players that want to come back to the tour to kind of give that up. But
and again, it
I don't think
it won't happen.
It won't happen. Yeah, it won't happen. But I think it's just kind of a petty response from maybe one or two players that, think they have, a position to talk from.
Now, also as somebody of your caliber player, are you happy with the PGA Tour's answer of live? Like, are you a fan of the way the tour's kind of broken down now with the signature events? Are you a fan of the signature events? Do you feel like you guys have a chance of getting into the signature events if you're not in them yet? Like, how do you think the PGA Tour's kind of handled the the live stuff with what they've done to the tour?
Yeah, I think it's a good sort of kind of a layout on what they've done, because I finished like 32nd on the FedEx Cup a few years ago, and I really didn't get anything for it. Now, if you finish top 50, you get in all these things.
Okay.
But the problem with that is, if you're not in that category to play in all the signature events, it's pretty hard to play your way into them.
Okay.
Starting, at the start of the year, you essentially have to win and keep playing well to stay in those signature events. But also, I don't mind having these elevated or signature events with huge purses. Like that's fine. And limited fields, no cut is kind of a little gray area for me. But I think the points distribution is a little skewed.
Okay.
I don't believe that you can play 18 events and 12 of them are these elevated events, and your best finish is 18th place, and you finish 95th on the FedEx Cup after the last regular season event, which is Greensboro. So that kind of shows that there's a flaw in the points distribution. Like 20th place, like a solo 20th. If you finish 20th in the elevated event, you get the same amount of points as like a solo 6th in a regular season event.
That's ridiculous.
It's like, it's
so you can have a shitty season.
Yeah.
Play every signature event and keep your card.
And you'll never lose
your card. Yeah.
And like these guys, there's a player that did that and they didn't even sniff like falling out of the 125, and they haven't even played since July.
Yeah,
so they didn't play.
Who was that?
You can look. I'm not gonna.
If I can look it up, and you're not putting it on blast, but the guy played shitty, and he's not gonna lose his card, and he's
kind of a friend. I don't want to call him out, but he knows who he is. But that's
he knows how bad he's played this year. Yeah.
But it's you have guys that bust their ass and can't even make the playoffs. It's hard to make the playoffs now in general.
Yeah.
But I'm all in for having $20 million purses, but the points, like, they can be.
They got to figure that out.
You got to figure it out.
Got to figure that out. And hopefully they do.
Finishing 20th out of 65 guys.
Shouldn't it be more points than 6th place?
Yeah, in a 140 plus field.
Yeah. No, that's crazy. Yeah. Well,
I'm sure they'll iron it out.
Yeah. I think we're getting closer to something happening.
Yeah.
So, all right. Well, cool to get your perspective on that.
Yeah.
Let's get back to JJ. As we talked, he's from Los Angeles. Grew up in Los Angeles. Were you always? Was golf always your first love, or did you try
No.
other sports? I know you're kind of a small guy, so you probably weren't able to play many other sports.
I was put behind home plate in t-ball. A little chubby short guy. No, I played a lot of other sports. I was really into like extreme sports like skateboarding and biking and like rollerblading at one point, but like when I was young, that was my goal, was to be a professional skateboarder. But I just like I didn't have the balls to really do anything big, which is kind of that's what gets you, to the professional level. You have to be really good, but yeah, I would say skateboarding and just kind of doing more extreme action
Really?
sports was like what I did.
Did you do half
more
pipes?
passionately?
Did you do half pipes and
Yeah.
launch ramps and all that stuff?
Oh yeah,
Really?
yeah.
Oh,
I mean,
that's
I
cool.
wasn't like Tony Hawk, but
Yeah.
for being 11 to 13, 14 years old, like I was pretty decent.
Yeah, I was into skateboarding myself. I used to love launch ramps.
Yeah.
Like that was my
It got
thing.
for a while, like eating shit was
Yeah,
tough. I was
yeah.
like, this is.
Who
Then you
was
get
your
scared
favorite? Who was your favorite skateboarder? Tony Hawk or Jeff Phillips or
my favorite skater was actually Andrew Reynolds. He's like a street skater,
Okay.
specific guy. Skated for America and Baker Skateboards, and he's kind of one of those, off the beaten path,
Oh yeah.
sort of
Yeah, I never heard of him.
underground guy.
Okay.
Yeah, he wasn't like a
Well, you grew up in
Rodney
the scene. I
Mullen.
mean, really, Los
Yeah.
Angeles was the beginning scene
Yeah.
of skateboarding.
yeah.
so.
There's so many good skaters back in early 2000s and stuff, and buying all the skateboard gear and,
Yeah.
and crap and all the shoes. I
What
don't
were
know
your
how-
favorite trucks?
I rode Thunder trucks.
Okay. So
I
no,
rode Thunder.
not
Independents
no,
were like too heavy.
Okay. Yeah, I was
I'm
an,
a
I
little
wasn't
guy, I
I wasn't
couldn't
I was an indie guy.
Yeah. Yeah.
I had the indie trucks with the slime ball wheels.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Classic. So when did you get into golf then?
Well, I mean, I was around the game a lot. My parents played, recreationally. My dad and my mom, I was an only child, so they would like to go play golf on the weekends, and they'd have to drag me along. So, when I was 4 to 5, I was, swinging a plastic club, and I've always been around the game, and
Okay.
and like, would go practice with them and kind of hang out with them and kind of, interact too, playing golf. But it probably wasn't until I was probably 11, 12 years old. My dad like enrolled me into like a junior tournament, like a local one. And like I won. And I think that was what kind of got that itch was, I
You
beat
win
all these
something, you're
kids.
ready, you want
Yeah,
more.
I won.
Yeah.
So that I guess brought out the competitive side of me and like the golf aspect. And, I kind of ran with that, obviously for until now. But yeah, when I was younger, I started playing in more tournaments and won a couple, and then that kind of created the passion to kind of stick with it and, try to see how far I can go. Even though I didn't really have like an end goal.
Yeah.
It was just kind of like, I'm play golf, play like junior tournaments, maybe make the varsity high school team. And then just like one step led to another.
No, there
and
wasn't
then it was-
like I think I'm going to be a pro at
Yeah, exactly.
Like when you're a kid playing baseball, it's like I
Yeah.
just want to be I'm going to be a major leaguer.
Exactly.
You know?
Yeah.
Now you went to a very, very famous high school that has maybe two of the most famous alumni.
Oh yeah.
So you went to San Dimas High School where
Yeah.
Bill and Ted
Bill and Ted.
graduated from and gave an epic presentation there. How was it
Yeah.
at San Dimas? Did you guys really, does that high school lean into Bill and Ted's Excellent
Totally.
Adventure? Good.
Totally. Especially like during football season, like the promotional shirts would be like San Dimas High School football rules.
Rule. San Dimas, the famous quote,
Yeah.
San Dimas high school football rules.
Yeah,
So they had the shirts,
everyone
everything.
had that. Yeah, every season, everyone's wearing those shirts. So yeah, and it's funny every time I bring up, where specifically in LA that I grew up, everyone's like, oh, they reference Bill and Ted.
Yeah. Yeah,
So-
I would.
Or the Ataris.
Do they have a statue of Bill and Ted out at the school? If not, they need to do
They
it.
should. I know. They should. They really should, but they don't. They don't.
And I got to, we need to get on Wikipedia because I was kind of just looking up San Dimas High. I knew Bill and Ted's was there, but I was like, I just wonder who their famous alumni. They don't list you as a famous alumni there, so we gotta change that. I'm
Yeah.
looking at the list of people that are famous alumni there.
Yeah.
You're actually,
How am I
believe it or
not on
not,
there?
might be the most famous sports alumni the school has, and you're not even listed. But
Yeah.
let's figure it out.
All I've done
Wikipedia.
for that school.
Now, from San Dimas High School, you ended up at San Diego State. Were other schools after you? Why San Diego State? What separated them from maybe some of the other schools that you might have been looking at?
Yeah, I actually wasn't recruited very heavily.
Okay.
Like I would play just random little junior events locally, and I was well known in kind of that circle of golf in my community, but I didn't play like AJGA, or I didn't play, the national events. I played actually where I started to get a little recognition was I qualified for the US Junior Amateur when I was 16, and I played really good, made quarterfinals and stuff. And a lot of coaches obviously go there to recruit. And so I got a little bit of recognition, and that's kind of where my foot got in the door with San Diego State. I met the coach there, and a lot of the bigger schools, they want more on the resume, instead of just, this kid plays local and got lucky one week at the US Junior. But I think my coach did a really good job of kind of seeing past that and seeing the potential in me. And yeah, it was a great fit. I actually walked on my first year. They didn't have any money for me, which was fine, but they guaranteed me a spot on the roster, and I still had to prove myself. I wasn't going to be, given a spot in the lineup as a freshman, especially. But there was 12 guys on our team, and a lot of them were upperclassmen. And I won my first qualifier and kind of took off from there. Just qualified my own way on and ended up playing well in these college events as a freshman, and kind of proved myself that, even though, I did walk on, I'm not getting a scholarship to be here, I'm good enough to receive that. So it ended up being a really good fit just because, it was close to home, similar environment, got along well with all the guys on the team, and the coach was really great. So
you didn't really get coming on as a walk-on, there wasn't any big recruiting visits or anything. You just...
I took an unofficial visit. Me and my dad drove down there and just met the coach, sat in his office, talked a little bit, and showed me the athletic center, and that was about it.
Okay,
but it wasn't...
You didn't get did you see the Clinton Portis video that came out last week on his recruiting trip to Miami?
Jesus.
They took him to one of the local strip clubs there in the Miami area. And, I guess he was having, or whoever his host was, I'm sure, but he was on, they told his story. They took him to a strip club, he was having drinks. I guess he was getting a lap dance, and the player next to him asked, you coming?
Yeah, you coming, right?
And he's getting a lap dance, and he goes, "Oh yeah, I'm coming." And you hear the story, and I think he meant he's coming, not coming to the school. So the next morning, he's on the elevator in the hotel, and the floor opens up. He sees a coach, and they're like, "Hey, we hear you're coming here. You're here. It's awesome. We're looking forward to the next floor." Another coach, and he's just like, I just committed there because the coaches were so excited. I mean, I didn't commit at the time. I was telling the guy I was coming, but epic story, just an epic bio. So you didn't get.
I didn't get that treatment. I didn't get that. I didn't get that recruiting visit. That's crazy.
It was freaking hysterical. But yeah, like you said, you as a walk-on, you had a great. You didn't even really struggle at all, right? As a, were you all conference freshman, sophomore?
Yeah.
Your entire career.
Yeah, and I was All-American my junior and senior year. I won 5 times individually. Player of the year for the conference my senior year. So it was I progressed nicely each year. Yeah, I got better and better and better. And but it was a great fit, It was
well, it's a great area. I mean, campus, school, or weather.
Yeah.
girls, beach.
Parties.
What else could you want?
Yeah, it was a great fit. So I'm glad that's where I ended up, and it's obviously helped a lot in my development as a player.
Now, was Xander was just the year after you, or were you on the same team together? And how was?
Yeah, he transferred from Long Beach State after his freshman year.
Okay.
So he did 3 years at San Diego State, but I was gone.
Oh, you were gone. Okay, I wasn't sure if you were his mentor, if you were mentoring him at all. Okay.
I wish I did. I'd be taking a lot of credit.
Yeah. Now you graduated you graduated from San Diego State, correct?
I didn't.
Oh, you didn't graduate?
I had ran out of eligibility for playing, and I said, oh, if I need to come back and finish a year, I'll do that. But
And what point did you? I think you majored in social
social
science, which
sciences.
means golf.
Yeah, it means
What,
nothing. Yeah.
what point in college did you think to yourself? Again, you were a walk on, weren't highly recruited.
Yeah.
At what point, though, you're having all this success? Did you think it to yourself? You know what? I can probably do this as a career. I feel that good about,
Yeah.
that confident in myself.
Yeah. I think it was after my junior year, I finished third at the national championship. I think Patrick Cantley won or something, but played with him like the final round, and I just was like, okay, like, I definitely feel like my game's developing into one of a, kind of a top tier college player right now. And I had a really good summer. I played the USAM in USAM Pub Links at Bandon Dunes and lost in the quarterfinals to like Harris English, who was about to turn pro and was like, number one player in college at the time. So, I just kind of started having more self belief at that time, and I'm like, okay, I think I can, if I keep this up, I'll have, some sort of opportunity to turn pro. And when you see like agents out kind of watching you play, and I'm asking the guys, is this guy following you? And he's like, no, I don't know who that is. And they end up, they're there to watch me. I was like, oh, this is different. Like, I've never had that. And, club manufacturer reps and stuff kind of doing their recruiting because there's back then, I'm sure it's the same now, like, sign guys out of college to certain brands and all that stuff. So, when I started noticing all that, that's when I knew, like, okay, think I might have a chance at this.
And then who did you, like you said, a conference player of the year? You had a really big senior season. What was your path, professionally? Did you start on the Gateway Tour, doing mini tours? Did you get signed by a Callaway or a Ping or whatever the case may be out of college?
So I signed with Nike Golf.
Oh,
and
okay.
Because I was playing their clubs back when they were making clubs. My last 2 years of college, and that kind of I didn't even know that was kind of the route that it goes, but I played their clubs and I liked it. And then, once I had all the success using their stuff, they're like, okay, we want to like continue this relationship when you turn pro. And so they have like a developmental tour or a developmental program where they give guys like seed money to go play.
Okay, so
and kind of like, nice. I didn't have to go worry about working. Like, it was like, here's some cash, you get this much, here's your signing bonus, you get this much a year. But that you gotta, use that for golf. Obviously, if you need to obviously live off of it a little bit, you can. But this is mostly to play golf. So
which has to be a huge relief. Yeah, a lot of guys on those mini tours and other tours, they don't have that, and it's
right
because you don't make a lot of money out there unless you're winning.
Yeah. So that was nice to be able to cover expenses and live and pay for a membership somewhere wherever I was playing at the time. And Q school, it was like freaking $8,000 or something. So it was huge because my parents couldn't really afford to do that. They would have to take out a second mortgage or something. But I didn't know how I was gonna be able to afford all this. But when they came through with that was huge. But I started on the Gateway Tour, and then I played the Canadian Tour for a couple years up there.
I saw you kind of struggled your first year on the Canadian Tour.
Yeah.
What do you think because you played pretty good on the Gateway, right? You won a tournament away.
I won a tournament right away. I think what happened was like I met my wife, who was my girlfriend then, and like
it's always
I'm going to like Canada.
It's always the woman's fault.
Up here, like we just started dating, and we were like living in Southern California, like in the summertime, everything's great, and like, oh, I gotta go to Calgary for a week, and then Nova Scotia for 2 more weeks, and so I maybe got a little homesick, but also I think that comes with learning how to live life on the road.
Sure.
I think that's a big adjustment for a lot of kids coming out of college and turning pro, that there's a lot of things that happen in between, playing a tournament and the next week or coming from home the week before. So I think it was just a little bit of kind of figuring out life on the road. And then, I acclimated all right and, kind of found my feet and what it was like to play 4 rounds and a cut. And, fortunately I didn't have to stress about, making cuts to
Right,
pay for
because of the
anything because I
Nike.
had
Yeah.
some money in the bank to kind of cover that and
Yeah.
relieve me. But still, you want to play
Yeah, and
the
it's like probably going to a new school, right?
yeah
You don't know where the classes are, and you're trying to figure
Yeah.
out who you're going to eat lunch with, right?
Yeah.
So you
Yeah.
go up there, you don't know the courses, the cities.
yeah.
Did you have many like friends that were on the PGA Tour Canada that you got to kind of travel around with, or
Yeah.
yeah,
I actually
okay.
had two of actually my teammates that were the same year as me. All three of us got on that tour. We qualified for that tour, so it was cool. We were able to travel together and practice rounds and kind of split costs
Yeah.
per se for those weeks. But yeah, it's still tough. I mean, I thought making a more economical decision would be kind of staying up there for the off weeks. Like we would have a tournament in one area one week and then a week off, and then the next tournament was in like Edmonton. I'm like, oh, I'll just stay up there with a buddy that I know lives in Edmonton or whatever, and it just ended up being a long
Right.
time from home.
Right.
When like a week off to get back to like California wasn't that hard.
Yeah.
And that's a long time to be away if you don't have to be. So
Sure.
it was just like a bad
So it was
planning.
just a struggle, bad
Yeah,
planning.
just like,
but
what
again,
are
you don't know that.
Right, exactly.
It's
I'm
really
thinking
your
like,
first
oh, I'm
time.
gonna save some money. Like I don't have to pay
Yeah.
whatever $500
Yeah.
for a flight back and forth, blah blah blah, and stay at my friend's house for free. But yeah,
Right.
I didn't. It was unnecessary, but I thought it was the veteran move.
Yeah. Turns out it wasn't.
Was
but,
not.
You figured it out because the next season on the Canadian Tour, you kind of broke through, right? You had a huge year,
Mm-hmm.
won the Order of Merit.
Yep.
I think you broke the record for the most earnings.
At the
time, which
Yeah.
I think you almost won $100,000,
Yeah.
which at that time's a lot of money on the Canadian
For
Tour,
sure.
right? So
Yeah.
What do you think? Besides obviously maybe knowing the courses a little better since you played some of them the year before, what do you think switched with you that got you to win? Finishing top 5 pretty much every week.
Yeah. I think what changed a lot was in between seasons. I think we were playing from about May to August or something on that tour. So after that, I would just kind of go home and I would practice a lot, hit a lot of balls, and not play that much. I would play, randomly with some guys at the place that I was a member at, but it wasn't productive playing. Like we weren't playing for really anything. They weren't that good, so I was kind of just, slapping it around. Like it wasn't playing for much consequence. But the second year we moved up to LA from Orange County, and I'd play these like little money games over in Pasadena like every Wednesday. And then there would be like 2-day ones like every other week. So I was playing more competitive golf and like doing really well.
Gotcha.
So I think kind of playing with more of a purpose instead of just like hitting balls, and it's not like the facilities
And playing
in
with
California.
more on the line too in a money
Right,
game or
exactly.
whatever
Like
it's
I have more skin in the game,
Yeah.
and I'm wanting to make some money and not lose money. So, and I was playing against really good players, like guys that were playing Japan Tour at the time, and bigger official tours than where I was at. And it really kind of it helped me develop my game into like how to score, because a lot of times you're young, you just get wrapped up on like hitting golf shots on the range and like working on your swing, but there's so many more aspects to the game, to scoring, and I think that's where I developed a lot of my feel and chipping and putting, because to win these money games, you got to put up a number and a low one a lot of the time.
Yeah.
So short game and putting kind of started falling together. So I think I kind of carried that into the second season on the Canadian Tour, where I was able to use that development from back home and learning how to score and just kind of trying to put it together for 4 days up there.
Because the Canadian Tour and the web.com, I mean, you got to go low to win these golf tournaments.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So,
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it was big. I mean, being able to play I was playing with more pressure, I guess, back home, instead of just kind of shooting shit. Yeah. Like, oh, let's go play 9 holes with guys that can't break 40. It's just like,
just not really iron sharpens iron.
Exactly. So I think that was a big key in getting developed for the second year.
Yeah. And then so Order of Merit, you obviously get your web.com card. And And again, you don't really struggle
Yeah, I didn't waste
at
much
all,
time.
right? You didn't waste any time. You're top 10ing or top 5ing in every tournament.
Yeah.
You win out there. You lose in a playoff.
Yeah, a couple weeks before that or something.
Why do you think you were so successful on that tour? Same thing.
It was
you were
almost,
so. It was just
the confidence.
The
was,
confidence built
yeah.
for the Canadian tour. So it was
Yeah.
just like, it doesn't matter what tour I'm on. I can play with these guys.
Yeah, it was totally one of those, sort of mental approaches where, I just knew I was playing really good. A lot of these guys I'd played already with on the Canadian tour or Gateway tour. Yeah. It was just all about kind of getting acclimated once again, understanding the travel is going to be more intense, going to like Bogota, Colombia, and freaking Brazil. Yeah. Like, so that was kind of crazy. It was fun, but it's like, man, I'm really going way out there. So it was a mindset of just, rolling with the punches and understanding that it's going to be a long grind. And my game was just in good shape. And I just tried to stick to the routines I was having up in Canada, the same sort of mindsets. And I played really good that year too on the web and got my card.
There were a couple young guns in that tour as well. I know you were in a playoff. I think you both ended up losing to Ollie Snyder-Jans. I don't know how to say his name either. But Colin Morikawa was also in that playoff.
There. So we always reminisce about that.
Could you tell? Obviously, he's won a couple majors now. He's one of the top players in the world. Could you tell playing with him? I don't know how many times you played with him, if that was the only time really, but could you tell he was going to be special? Like, is there something that differentiates those guys from the other ones?
Yeah, any amateur that, can win on the professional level, whether it's Korn Ferry or PGA Tour or Canadian, like, he was still young. I think he was only like a sophomore, maybe even a freshman in college when he played that event. But yeah, he was so good, and he's obviously still is really good, and he made like a nice 20-footer on the last hole to get himself in the playoff. So I just knew, this guy's going to be a world beater once he kind of, gets through the college process and turns pro. He's going to be pretty sick.
How did it feel for you to win your first time on the web.com? Had to be a pretty big relief. I mean, you pretty much win there and you're playing well, but after when you're going to get your tour card. So how did it feel to win? How was the part? Did you have a pretty nice party afterwards? How did that go?
It was sweet. It was actually my birthday when I won.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I shot 26 under on my 26th birthday.
Like I said, really?
Yeah, so it was like
that's incredible.
Stars aligned.
Yeah.
And it was totally meant to be. And my girlfriend, who's now my wife, she happened to be at that tournament too. Like, she didn't come to every tournament. Right. She maybe came to 2 or 3. And that was when she happened to come to, obviously, because it was my birthday and she wanted to like be with me. So,
sure.
It was cool.
That's special. Yeah.
We were in beautiful Knoxville, Tennessee, and
Knoxville's a great spot.
We had a nice steak dinner and got a little wild after. But then it was the tour championship the next week. So
you had to
it was kind of hard to like get too loose, but we did. And was hurting a little bit the next day, but we were flying all day, so it was fine. But that's one week I'll never forget. And it's funny. My buddy who I'd been traveling with kind of all year, Sam Ryder, it was me and him coming down the stretch on Sunday, and I ended up besting him by 1 on the last hole. But if he would like, I already had my card if I finished second, and if he would have won, he would have got his card. And it just kind of was cool, like what a good sport he was. Like, he didn't win, so therefore he didn't get his card.
So he didn't get his card.
No, but he still, like, we had all these arrangements to go, like, for my birthday and stuff. Yeah. And he still went, and like we still had a good time, and he was like happy for me. Like, I would have honestly personally had a hard time like going through that. Oh man, this guy just kicked my ass, and now I gotta go like celebrate his birthday with him. Like,
knowing he's going to the tour.
Yeah, knowing that he's going and I'm still here for another year. But I mean, that just means he's a good friend, and he ended up making it with ease the next year anyway. And the way he looks at it,
and he's had
he's had a good 7 years on tour. He's had a good career. So it's weird how things just work out certain ways.
Now that year too on the web.com, you got a special exemption into the Northern Trust tournament
Yeah.
at Riviera, right? You with
Mhm.
the is that the like the
It was-
exemption Tiger Woods puts? It's like the minority.
Yeah, it used to be minority exclusive. Like you could be any minority. You could be Asian, African
Because you're
American,
Filipino, Mexico.
Mexican.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we played that card,
Yeah.
obviously, and it worked.
Yeah.
But it's funny. I got grandfathered into like the Charlie Sifford category. Like everyone thinks I'm African American because of that. but like the year before, when Tiger to go, yeah, then it became kind of exclusively for African Americans. And so,
Okay, so this was sort of before the Tiger
yeah,
Woods.
it was.
Okay.
Yeah, it was still for a minority,
Yeah.
but it wasn't exclusive to
Okay.
African American, which I believe is
That's
the
what's
whole
is
Charlie
the now.
Sifford,
Okay.
exemptions for.
But pretty cool exemption just
Yeah.
to give somebody else who may, an opportunity to see what
Right.
they can do.
Yeah, no, it was great, and I had a hard time thinking I wouldn't get it just because like of the year I had on the Canadian Tour. I'm
Yeah.
on the web. I'm from LA. I went to this tournament growing up as a kid. This is what inspired me to be like a pro golfer, and I think I beat out Roberto Castro for the spot. So
That's
I don't know
cool.
if you know what Roberto looks like, but
I do. Yes, I do.
he doesn't look like that big of a minority.
No, he doesn't. But he's got.
like
But he's got
Cuban
the.
or something.
But he's got the name Roberto Castro,
Yeah.
though. So
Yeah.
so you definitely are. Yeah, he's probably Cuban.
I think that's what he is. It was funny.
So you, yeah, like you said, you won the tournament, got your card, right straight to the PGA Tour. Again, as I mentioned, it's kind of new school, new courses. Don't know a ton of. Did you know a ton of people on the PGA Tour at that time? And again, you hit the road running. You don't
Yeah.
struggle at all. You have a really good rookie season.
Yeah.
How were the nerves on your first like official PGA Tour event? I know you had played 2 before, but you weren't on tour.
Right.
So like, how was the feeling of your first event, and did it feel different? I imagine it feels like a minor leaguer finally getting the call to the big leagues, right?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah, no, it was. I think getting those first two tour event starts as not a member.
yeah,
Those exemptions were huge in kind of my official start as a member, just because I knew what to expect. But yeah, I was still like super nervous. But it was in Napa where we just were last week, and I played really well the first 2 days. Made the cut. I mean, didn't finish great, but it was a lot of confidence building from there. To make the cut, play 4 days.
yeah.
Play some pretty good golf the first couple days, but
I just know you can kind of compete. out
yeah,
there.
yeah, but yeah, the fall season was a good sort of adjustment to kind of understand how the tour operates more so than like the web, and it's completely different.
Yeah.
And then kind of picked up pretty quickly in January, and I think starting on the West Coast made me feel a lot more comfortable. Playing Torrey Pines and
Courses
La
you're
Quinta,
familiar with,
yeah,
and probably played
exactly.
as a kid.
Yeah, like even though they're different,
Right.
obviously, but being there, like understanding, where I'm at and feeling comfortable and having friends and family out to support was huge. So that kind of catapulted me into a really good start of the year. My rookie year was that West Coast swing.
Okay. And then the next year, same thing. Boom.
Yeah.
You get even better.
Yeah, I was
more
getting
top
better.
25s, a few
Yep.
more top 10s.
Mm-hmm.
Year after that, I think even better.
Yeah, I
right.
think it
Like
was,
I
yeah.
think you finished 32nd or 60 something on.
Yeah.
So never really struggled at all on the PGA Tour. Then the COVID year happened.
Yeah.
Which obviously was strange for everybody,
Right.
but you weren't playing well that
Yeah.
year, right? Luckily, it was COVID, so if there wasn't COVID, you would have lost your card, right?
Right.
What do you think was the difference between the first 3 years and that? Was it just with it being a crazy season and not knowing what's going on, or what was the
Yeah.
reason for the struggles of that year?
Yeah, well, in late 2019 or 18, I was feeling like really sick and I was losing a lot of weight. And by genetics, I'm been a big boy, like I'm not tall, but I've been
Yeah,
thick, you know
sure.
what I mean? And I
You're
lost
like a bowling ball.
yeah, like a little, like a small Jerome Bettis. like a 5'8" Jerome Bettis.
I don't think anybody was calling you Jerome Bettis, but continue.
I like to just maybe make myself feel
sure,
a little
of
better.
Of course. Yeah.
But yeah, like I think I weighed in at like 215 pounds my third year on tour. And
God,
then,
I wish I could be 215 pounds. But anyway.
well, you got half a foot or a foot on
Yeah,
you,
I'm 6'2". I mean,
Yeah.
so probably 4 feet.
Heavier bones.
Probably 4 inches on you.
Yeah.
What are you, 5'8"?
Yeah. On a good day.
When wearing your wife's high heels.
Yeah, some stilettos. But no, I lost like a lot of weight unexpectedly, and that's never been my problem.
Sure.
And this was towards the end of the year, in 2018, and then I remember like my belt, like I went down to the last hole. You know, there's like 4 holes in the belt or whatever.
And you're like, I'm not dying
like,
or anything, so this is strange.
Yeah, I'm like, what's going on? I'm like, oh, maybe it's just a long year. You know, I lost some pounds, but when everyone else was like, man, you look good. You've been like losing some weight. I'm like, dude, I'm eating candy at night, like eating whatever.
And it's funny, you don't see it really.
No,
right?
yeah, you don't notice it.
Yeah.
Other than like my clothes fit,
Right.
I was like, oh, okay, that's weird. So then I ended up going to the doctor after the season was over just to like make sure everything was all right. And then they found out like I had diabetes. And at first they thought I was type 2, which is just kind of like adult onset. You kind of eat your way into that. You don't exercise much. And I don't know, you're just insulin resistant. So your body, you need to kind of get your body kind of in this process of like getting your insulin to work better to process your food and your sugar and all that. So that's encouraged with like diet and exercise and losing weight. So I'm like, okay, wow, this is crazy, but okay, I guess that's what I gotta do. I mean, I play golf every day. Like, I mean, I guess I don't eat great.
Yeah, but you're walking 7 miles
I'm like,
every day.
You know, I know I'm like fat-ish.
Yeah.
But yeah, I went from 215 to like 185 in probably 3 months without even trying.
Wow. Yeah.
And then I was really lethargic and all that stuff, and started reading up on all the symptoms of diabetes, and that's kind of what happens. You start losing all this weight.
So obviously that was going to affect your golf game.
Yeah.
Right?
So that was 2019, early 2019. And then, you know, I'm losing weight. I got down to 160 pounds.
Wow.
But then when I'd go get my blood tests every 3 months, and they're like, your A1C is still 10%, or whatever. Yeah, 10%. Like, how? I'm eating like 1,000 calories a day. So then my buddies...
You're probably eating more than 1,000 calories a day.
Right.
1,000 calories is not a lot.
I know, but like I had to eat nothing to keep my sugar in range.
Oh, gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay, you're...
Like,
okay.
Like, because I would measure my sugar. I'm like, I'm at 300, and I had a freaking, like a zero sugar
So I was
Cliff
thinking
bar.
about the weight loss. Okay.
Right,
Yeah.
I'm like, what the hell? So my buddy's a doctor. He said, you need to go to an endocrinologist to like, they do more extensive tests. Because you might not even be a type 2. So this is in 2020, end of 2020. So yeah, so
again, you struggle on that.
So I'm struggling 2019, end of 2019 to 2020. COVID hits. So I'm at home. And then I have a baby. We're dealing with all COVID, and we have a baby in November of 2020.
So a lot of shit going on.
A lot of shit. And, you know, here I am, can't eat anything, just kind of withering away.
Yeah.
Losing muscle, losing speed. That was one thing. Like, my speed went down. I started hitting nowhere. So fast forward to 2021. They gave us another year because COVID kind of cut the whole season in half. So that saved my ass. I eventually lost my card, but it just prolonged it. It gave me more opportunity to keep my card.
Yeah. But
I was still playing like shit.
Okay.
All through 2021. So then February 2021, I finally go see this endocrinologist that my buddy's a doctor referred me to. She ran all these tests. She's like, you make zero insulin. You produce zero insulin in your pancreas. I'm like, really? So yeah, so you're not type 2. You're type 1. You need insulin or else you can die. I was like, what? She's like, I know, I'm sorry. This is the route you're going.
So they misdiagnosed
I was
you
misdiagnosed
twice.
for almost 3 years.
Yeah, it's crazy.
So that's why I kept losing weight, because metformin and a diet wasn't what I needed. Like, I didn't have the hormone insulin to take the fuel that you get from your food and the protein to transfer into my cells. So my body was just like eating my my fat and then my muscle, and like then I had no energy, and like it was hard to keep up with. And it was a great revelation because everything started to like kind of get better from there
And makes sense
and
now.
makes
Now
sense.
you
I'm like,
know.
okay,
Yeah.
because there's no way I know diabetes is tough.
Yeah.
But like,
But it,
I don't know if I can keep, like, how am I going to keep going like this?
Yeah.
Like losing more weight, eating less, having less energy,
right. You couldn't.
getting weaker. I'm like, dude, this is terrible. So yeah, once I started insulin therapy, taking injections, like I can keep weight on, I can eat more of a normal diet as long as I, take the right
Sure.
dosing with what I'm eating, and I still eat really clean. But yeah, like, that was beginning of 2021, so it took a while. I lost my card in what was that? July of 2021, but I was starting to play really good like from May
Okay.
of 21. But I was so far behind
Because of
like
the
I had no
earlier
chance.
year.
Like I was starting like I was leading AT&T and like playing really good, and but then it was good because like I took that momentum into the Corn Ferry Finals, which is where we go to get our cards
Right.
back or give you a chance to get your card back for the PGA Tour. And I finished second at Boise, and
So right away
was
you
it.
get your card back.
yeah. So I lost my card for a week and
Yeah.
got it back, and that was a good kind of turning point for me too, just because I had gone almost 2 seasons of playing like shit and losing confidence, and like now I
Does
had
it
this.
help knowing though? I know you're playing like shit and losing confidence, but in the back of the mind, does it help a little knowing why you were probably playing like shit had a lot to do with your health reasons? So you're in your mind, you're going, it really wasn't me. It was
Yeah,
my health. So it's easier maybe to get that confidence back.
yeah, like you don't want to like play the victim or have an excuse by any means, but I knew like there was more to this. Like there's no, like I can't keep playing this bad because I don't, like I shouldn't. Like
Yeah.
I'm better than this. But yeah, it ended up being like the harm of my health, and having a child maybe, and just like
Right.
a huge
That and other
curveball in my
stuff.
life. So to kind of get everything sort of straightened out and get the health back on track and be able. I mean, because I don't know about you, but like when I have a bad day, like I want to hit up Taco Bell or something. So like when I couldn't do that, or like in and out, like I was like, oh,
I've never been a
food therapy.
food therapy or drink therapy guy, to be honest with you.
Really?
No, no. I mean, you probably look at me thinking I'm a food therapy guy.
I was gonna say. No,
I just like food, but I don't.
You don't binge
I'm
eat
not
your
a binge
emotions.
eat my emotions. Yeah, I'm not the.
Okay.
I'm not like the girl who's eating ice cream when their boyfriend breaks up with them or something. Like I've never had a bad day and it's like
Yeah.
give me some ice cream. But I know people are like that. So
Yeah. So for a while when I was looking back on those moments where I did that, I was like, maybe I did do this to myself. But yeah, it was good to take advice from some people and get a different opinion, which I think is huge for any sort of medical condition.
of course,
you can't get just one diagnosis
No.
and go with
better
that.
get 2 or 3 really.
Yeah. So, but yeah, going to Boise, finishing second, kind of turned around my career, and I ended up playing really good in 2022, the year I got my card back.
Yeah, and that's the year you broke through, right?
Mhm.
2023, you won the. You got your first PGA Tour win at the Texas Valero Open. How was that? How was that week? How did it play out? And then I know on Sunday you had a buddy of yours kind of going on a late charge as well, trying to snatch one from nowhere on you.
Yeah, totally. I've been playing really good to start the year. That tournament's like the last week of March or the first week of April. Obviously, it's the week before the Masters. So I was just playing really solid leading up to that. I was in a category because I had to go to Corn Ferry Finals. I was basically a rookie again, where I'm in like the shuffle category. So every week matters, like because after a few weeks they shuffle, and if you don't make any points, you're down at the bottom.
The
then you can't really get into
Yeah.
So I think it was good, kind of having that, having to have that grit each week to kind of make points, whether it's just making the cut, because every point mattered. So I had played really good leading up to that. I think I had a bunch of top 25s. Like I qualified for Bay Hill and all that stuff. And the week before, I just took it easy. I had a week off and hung out at home. Didn't really practice much because I knew my game was in good shape. And went to San Antonio, played really good the first 2 rounds, and then Saturday played even better. I think I was tied for lead going into the last day, and
It's tied for lead, but you didn't end up.
I was in the second to the last group.
Were you kind of happy about that?
Kinda.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was like, okay, this is like kind of a, under the radar tee time where you're not like the final group.
Right.
It was threesomes, so you kind of feel like you can not be noticed as much if you play like shit or something. You're like, okay, let me just step aside here. But I did double bogey the first hole from like the middle of the fairway. I'm like, gotta be kidding me. And then I almost bogey the second hole, which is a par 5. And then something like, I don't know if that kind of helped me. Like,
probably
sell me
loosened
down.
you up, thinking to yourself, well, but I'm not going to win this week.
Yeah,
let's grind, maybe.
Yeah,
like, I don't
let's
know,
get a top 10 now.
Yeah.
Try to finish in the top 10. And yeah, good things started happening. I made a couple nice birdies coming in there on the front 9. And then I actually got kind of screwed on 9. Pin was to the right of the green, back right. And I hit it like towards the left center of the green. And like one hopped, so it was in the back. So long is dead, left is dead, right is dead. So you almost have to be perfect with your distance, perfect with your accuracy. And it landed on the green, the left side, which is where I was going for, and one hopped like just onto like the collar, right where a microphone was, and it hit the microphone and kicked it down left, like,
oh, you're kidding,
down the side of the green. Where it would have just kind of hung up on the top, and I would have just had a little chip.
Yeah.
But now I like have this pretty hard chip, and then I go up to the shot. I'm like, dude, how am I gonna freaking get this close? And I end up making it.
Oh wow!
So it was almost like things like that are kind of what happens.
And then when you make a shot like that, do you mentally put yourself like, okay, this could be my day?
Yeah.
Like, does that go through your head? Like, I got a fucked up break.
Yeah.
I just chipped in though. This is my day.
It's almost like you just try not to fight it. Like things are going your way, just kind of. I felt so comfortable because I remember Jonesy when he won Honda and like he had like a 5-shot lead, or he had a pretty good lead or something.
A big lead, yeah.
He's like, I felt so calm the whole final round, and I like looking back when I won, I felt the same way.
Yeah.
And I don't know if I was maybe thinking of that, but so yeah, I had played good, leading up to the closing holes. And then I asked I didn't look at a scoreboard after 9, and I decided to look on 17 because it's a drivable one. I'm like, okay, do we need to go for a drive? Like, do we need to do this? So I asked my guy, I'm like, all right, where are we at? He's like, you have a 2-shot lead. I was like, over who? He goes, Matt Jones. I'm like, that fucker.
Like, that little fuck's trying to take
I'm like,
my glory here.
Are you kidding me? Yeah, this guy can't let me have one. He's like, I was like, is he done? He's like, yeah, he's done. I'm like, all right.
Okay, was he done? Yeah, I was thinking that he might have been on 18, which is that par 5.
He might have just
like,
finished like a few minutes before when we were waiting on 17T. And so it was funny. I literally was like, that fucker. Like, just if I'm going to lose, I got to lose to him.
Yeah, you wouldn't have lived that down.
Oh, God. But no, it was good. I ended up making 2 really good pars coming in the stretch on 17 and 18, and Jonesy was right there, waiting on the side of the green, and gave me a big hug.
Yeah, that's awesome.
It was a good moment.
Yeah,
a lot of fun.
True. Now you didn't really get to celebrate that victory at that moment. There was a celebration a few weeks after that, but because you went straight to the Masters for winning that. How was your first Masters experience? Because even though you've had a really good career leading up to that, you haven't been you've never been in the Masters, but you really haven't played in a lot of majors at that point anyway, right?
Yeah,
like maybe one
like a couple.
So how was the experience at the Masters, which is obviously the Super Bowl of golf? So.
Yeah, it's a pretty magical experience for sure. Just to think, after not only just you won your first event, now it's like, okay, now we gotta go to the Masters.
Yeah.
Like, oh shit, like this is crazy, and it's incredible. And it's a lot of fun. And Valero sent me on their jet, just me and my family and my caddy, and we showed up there Monday. And it's almost like it's everything you kind of expect.
Yeah. Because
as like golf fans and people that know about the Masters, you kind of hold it in this like really high regard.
Yes.
And you almost think you're going to be let down, but it's like exactly what you think.
Yeah.
Like the hype, there's no hype like that's
I can't imagine as a player, as I've said on this show a couple times, like going to the Masters, you as a player going to it outdoes what you're expecting. So I can only imagine as a player, you're like, fuck, it's even better than I thought it was going to be.
Totally. And then, like, driving down Magnolia Lane and going into the clubhouse and registering, and you get your number.
Yeah.
It's just pretty cool, man. And going to the range, because you see all this. You see it for like weeks leading up, like behind the scenes and on the range. You're like, oh yeah, I remember watching this and seeing
you've seen it
this
your whole
one
life.
door always opening, and that's where all the players came out. It's like, now I'm coming out of that door.
Yeah.
So it was surreal, and to have a lot of my family there and a lot of my friends, they all got to check off things on their bucket list for sure for getting to go to that tournament. And it was a pretty standard week at Augusta. Beautiful week and sunny, and everything's just perfect. And I crushed a lot of pimento cheese sandwiches.
God, I hate those.
Oh my!
I fucking hate those.
What about egg salad?
Hate egg salad
really?
too. I do. When I've been there, luckily enough to be there a couple times, I do like their little chicken biscuits that you can get. Like I crush those and their $2 beers. Had quite a bit of those over at Augusta, but hate those fucking sandwiches. Man, I don't get it.
Yeah, they can get soggy if they've been sitting in that fridge for a while, but no, yeah, it was pretty sweet.
And you played great. You ended up top 25 in, right? 23rd or whatever.
Yeah.
With that week, besides your win, would you kind of say that was your most special week on? I know you've come in second a couple times. You know what I mean? But like, was that your most 100%. Special? Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, hopefully I can get back there soon and, best that. But to even, I think I was talking to Billy after somewhere. He's like, just to make the cut, like, is really hard as a first timer there. Yeah. Like, cause you don't know jack about it.
Yeah. That's of course why, you need to play 2, 3, 4 times.
That's why there's guys that are older that can, like Bernard Langer, and like, because you just know like Nicholson, how to play it. Like you just got to know how to play it from being there so many times and having success. But I was playing great. I just won a tournament the week before, and I'm trying to soak it all in at the same time, but I still want to play good, and obviously I would try to win, but. Top 13 would be nice, get back in the next year. Sure. So I was a couple strokes short of that, but it was a really good week and an experience I'll never forget for sure.
Yeah, it sucks because you won the week before, Jones won the week before, and then I think Honda, for some reason, was different on he didn't have a lot of time before the Masters either. So none of your friends have gotten to take advantage of the year around to take somebody out to Augusta. God damn it!
I wish you can just like maybe defer especially the week before. But I think that's a cool storyline for them. They're like at least broadcast like, oh, he gets
the week he gets
the
to
last go, chance to go to Augusta.
Yeah,
kind of a thing storyline. So
no, it's great.
I mean, I'll take it.
You're never going to complain. But you're right. It would be nice if they go, okay, the guy that wins the week before gets a year to. Yeah. To actually come out and play a couple times. And
because then I didn't even get to really enjoy like the win. I mean, I did, but but it's fine. I mean, we ended up taking care of that.
Yeah, exactly. We had a nice celebration in Las Vegas, and that was fun. And scary airplane ride to Vegas, right? But I think
Housey manifested all that shit.
Yeah, well, those guys like to scare. You're a nervy flyer.
I am a nervy flyer, especially on one that is smaller than a Escalade ESV or whatever.
We were on a small plane, and him and Josh like to scare us about the turbulence, and then we hit an air pocket.
Dude, oh my god, I forgot about that.
Yeah, remember? We hit an air pocket.
Dude, in our heads, we all hit
the top of the ceiling. My drink flew all over the place.
I've never had that even on like a normal plane.
No.
Is it because it's a small plane, you think?
No, I think we just
were cruising through a bad spot.
Scary as hell. It was scary. My life flashed in front of me. And
it happened so fast.
Spilled all over
and
me.
It was like 5:30 a.m. I was like, I'm getting drunk before I get on this plane.
Yeah.
It's a little too small.
Yeah, no, we did get after it, and I don't even want to say what I ate and drank before 11 o'clock in the morning because it makes me sick to this day.
That was a long 24 hours.
It was, and it was great. And I'm glad you invited us, and that
was a blast.
God, it was a hell of a time. So. All right, well, I'll let you. I know you were very gracious with your time. I know you're busy. He's going on a trip tomorrow. So I'm going to wrap it up a little bit with my last last segment called the Shooting the Shit segment. Just kind of, random questions that the viewers want to know about you. Favorite player to be paired with on the PGA Tour, past or present?
Past or present? Does it have to be like a player, or could it have been like a pro-am?
Yeah, I guess it could be a pro. Well, you could do a pro-am too, and then
God, I know this. Okay, I'll go with the AM first, so I can think about my pro. I play with Mookie Betts at the AT&T Pro-Am.
They paired you with Mookie, huh?
Which
for you was special.
Yeah, that was in 2022. A lot of good things happened in 2022.
Yeah, 22 and 22 was a really good year for you, huh?
Yeah. And he was a hell of a player, too. And that was like his first official tournament. But yeah, that was pretty fun. That was a lot of fun. Seeing him outside of his world and being in my world.
Right.
That was cool. So my favorite time playing with a pro would be when I played with Tiger.
Okay.
Played him on Sunday in Riviera, which is pretty cool.
Oh, that's cool.
So it's like full circle.
And you probably looked up to Tiger as a kid. Was he one of the guys that got you into golf? Like
totally.
Okay.
Yeah, he was the Michael Jordan for us.
Sure.
Like seeing what he accomplished, and I remember just trying to watch him play that tournament in LA as a kid, like as a spectator, and then to fast forward 20 years later.
Yeah.
All right, I'm paired with him on Sunday, and he's wearing the red, and there's a billion people following, and I had people from like high school that I hadn't seen and for like I don't even keep in contact with them that like came out, and I was like, whoa, I haven't seen you in a while, but it was pretty cool.
Yeah, I was gonna say, how was that experience? Because you're playing in front of the entire world at that
the whole
point.
Eyes
you're
are
not used
on
to that.
Yeah. He
was it difficult? Was it a little difficult too? Because once he's done putting or hitting, everybody's moving and
So he told me, he's like, I'll put out, like, because I think I was playing okay, and he's like, like, I'll wait for you to put out, so that way like you don't have all this distraction. So it was pretty cool of him. He didn't have a good day, but that was kind of when he ended up having another surgery, a week later and stuff. He was obviously hurting.
So is that the only time you played with Tiger?
That was the one and only time.
And you beat him pretty good on Sunday, or
he shot 83.
Oh, so you beat the shit out of him.
I beat him.
Beat the hell out of him. Sorry, Tiger.
Sorry, Tiger.
He had an all right career, though.
Yeah,
he can hang his hat on. Who's your least favorite player to see on the tee sheet next to your name?
Dude, you're trying to
just
create enemies on this
Nobody
thing?
answers the question. I'm going to get one person to answer. Maybe Jones answered. No, I don't think he did. But... No, he didn't say that was the person he hated to play with, Lee. He just said that.
Yeah.
That's true. He said Sam is slow. Yeah. All right, we're going to go with Sam Ryder. He hates playing with Sam Ryder. You got it. Sam Ryder, he doesn't want to play with you. You're still buddies, though. What's your favorite tournament?
Toss up. I'd say Riv.
Yeah.
Or Torrey Pines.
Just because it's a home course to the Riviera, home fans. Riviera is one of the best courses. Is that one of your favorite courses, I imagine?
Yeah.
Yeah.
One of my favorites. My favorite. It's kind of like a Augusta feel.
Yeah.
It's been there forever, and it's been kind of sacred grounds sort of a place, Hogan's Alley. So, yeah, I love that place. That place is awesome. There, and like Torrey Pines is a close second. Just because we had to clean shoes in the locker room during college, so
So now, being able to play there,
yeah, exactly.
Somebody else is
literally started from the bottom.
Yeah, and somebody's now cleaning my shoes in there. Yeah, full circle moment.
Yeah, exactly.
Last meal on if you're the death row, you get one meal. What would be your last meal? And our last guest, Ben Francisco, who played for the Phillies and Indians or whatever, his was cereal. I think he said Lucky Charms or something. So that came out of nowhere.
So no judgment.
No judgment. There's no wrong answers here.
I'm gonna say 2 carne asada tacos and a al pastor sope from King Taco in LA.
I like it. I always thought mine would be like chicken parm or whatever, but then I was thinking
rigatoni from Carbone.
But That would be up there. How good is that?
Forgot
That's
about that
one of
one.
my, oh, that is right up there. It'd be that would be
Spicy.
close to the spicy rigatoni or like a very good breakfast burrito.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like I
Have you done the Oscars breakfast burrito yet?
Yeah, I do it all the time. I'm the one that told
Which
you
one
guys to get the Oscar breakfast burrito.
Yeah, it's so good.
It's
Which one do you
delicious.
go with?
I mix it up, but mostly the bacon egg
Yeah.
at hash brown.
I've always done chorizo.
Yeah, I was gonna say,
So
or
good.
I do the chorizo.
So
So,
good.
speaking of, because you went to school in San Diego, you've been in Coronado. I got to bring this up. We're wasting time talking. I can talk breakfast burritos all day. By the way, I talked about it with the buddy on our last trip for an hour one, because he's a huge breakfast burrito guy. San Diego State, and then I know you were in Coronado. Have you eaten at Clayton's Mexican Takeout? Their breakfast burrito at the Mexican Takeout, Clayton's Mexican Takeout in Coronado.
Have not.
Oh boy, greatest breakfast burrito maybe in the country. So please get
Clayton's.
Clayton's.
Sounds very authentic.
Clayton's Mexican take. Trust me, it is. Go in there. It's a takeout spot.
Carlitos, maybe. I would be like, okay.
No. Trust
I
me,
believe that.
Clayton's Mexican takeout. Get the carne asada breakfast burrito, and then
Okay.
come talk to me. Best breakfast burrito you'll ever have in your life. Don't let the thank you
Okay.
producer chiming in. Don't let the name fool you.
Okay.
It's unbelievable. Sporting event that maybe you haven't been to yet that you want to go to.
I would like to go to Kentucky Derby.
Another one everybody says to me too. It's one of ours. to
That
check
or
off.
like, I don't know.
Kentucky Derby just
I don't
sounds.
know
It
if
seems like
Super
a hell
Bowl
of a
does
lot
it
of
for
fun.
me.
No, see, I have no
You'd rather
desire.
watch that at home?
I have no desire to go to the Super Bowl whatsoever. I've been to World Series. I've done
I think Kentucky, there's a lot of like things leading up to it.
Oh, yeah.
And it's just like,
party. It's
yeah.
the whole time. It's a whole day.
Yeah.
No. Right, good answer. Good answer. And finally, the one I end all my thing with, my show with, give me your best emergency bathroom story. Like your best, oh my God, I'm going to shit my pants story.
It's funny. It just happened.
Oh, really?
Yeah, Napa.
Beautiful. Perfect timing.
So morning tea times are always a struggle for that time of day. Yeah, that's kind of like when the body
Oh, trust
is on
me.
a clock. It's like, okay,
I
I
know.
have like a 7:30 tea time. And I always pound coffee in the morning just to get it going and catch it early. But at Silverado, they have these cottages down the first fairway. And we were staying right there, right on the first fairway. Like the sliding glass door is right on the first fairway. So here I am warming up. Still hasn't come through yet. I'm like, God, how long do I have? 20 minutes? Okay, maybe it'll come this afternoon when I'm done, hopefully. But like starting to warm up and it's 5 minutes before my tea time. I'm like, oh shit.
Boy.
Like maybe it was a little bit of like the anxiety, the nerves too that
knowing
stimulated it.
knowing the shit
Knowing
hasn't
that you
happened
can't,
yet. Yes.
you can't go anywhere. No one wants to go in the Blue Lagoon either. I mean, unless you have to. But anyways, tee off. Thankfully, the first hole, and it hits me, and I'm wearing white pants too.
Oh,
I'm like, oh my God. Luckily, like my wife's in the thing, the cottage awake, and I'm like, I tee off, and I was the first one to tee off. So once the other two guys hit, I literally just start power walking. Like I couldn't run because running's dangerous.
And was this on Thursday or was
This is Friday.
Friday, okay.
This is Friday.
Friday.
So I hit it left rough. Don't give a shit. It's closer to my cottage. Literally, like it's like 200 yards.
Your caddy's like, okay, you want to be kind of just right of this bunker, about 320. He's like, I'm going for the left cottage.
Left cottage, 730, number 737. That's me. Pound on the door. She opens up. She's like, "What the hell?" I was like, "I gotta go to the bathroom." Go in the bathroom. Relieved myself.
That's hilarious.
Thankfully, it was the first one I shot 7 under that day. And
Boom. So now you just have to recreate that shit every day, and boom, we're gonna win multiple majors.
yeah, exactly. Just as long as there's somewhere I can go on the first hole.
That's awesome. Great. Well, that's how we end every show. I appreciate you doing this, my man. Hopefully, you have a big year next season, and we can do this again to talk about that. And hopefully, we're playing the Masters, and we're celebrating another one of your victories in Vegas. That's kind of the key.
It is
The plan, I should say. So.
Yes, sir. Thanks,
Awesome.
Biggs.
Thanks,
Appreciate
bud.
it, brother.
Appreciate it, buddy.